Have you ever helped someone and later felt sorry? Let's see how this happens in today's story.
Greg works as a porter at the Shepton Hotel in New York. His job is hard, but every day after work, he does the same thing. He crosses the street and buys a coffee from a small cafe near the hotel. One afternoon, Greg notices a girl sitting near the window. She has green eyes and dark hair. She looks serious. The next afternoon, she is there again. And the next afternoon, too. She comes here every afternoon, Greg thinks. She always sits alone at the same table near the window. She drinks 1 cup of coffee and looks outside. Sometimes she opens her bag and takes out a small notebook. Greg does not know why, but he likes seeing her there. After a long day at work, the cafe feels warmer when she is inside. That evening, Greg decides to speak to her. He buys his coffee and walks to her table. "Hi," he says. "My name is Greg. Can I sit here?" The girl looks up. "Okay," she says. "I'm Cassie." "I come here every day after work," Greg says with a smile. "I work at the Shepton Hotel." Cassie nods, but she does not smile. "You have beautiful green eyes," Greg says. "Do I?" She answers quietly. Greg feels something is wrong. "You don't look very happy," he says. "Is everything okay?" Cassie looks down for a moment. "It's nothing," she says. "Tell me," Greg says. "Maybe I can help." Cassie takes a deep breath. "My stepfather is staying at your hotel," she says. "He has my sketchbooks. I am an artist. Those sketchbooks are my life," Cassie says softly. "I draw every day. Without them, I feel empty." Her hands shake as she speaks. "When I ask for them, he says no. He wants me to go back home to Boston, but I don't want to go." Greg listens carefully. "How long is he staying at the hotel?" he asks. 2 more days, Cassie says. "He's in room 724. Greg thinks for a moment. "Maybe I can help you," he says. "Maybe I can get your sketchbooks." "Can you really?" Cassie asks, surprised. "Meet me here tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, Greg says. "Thank you," Cassie says. "Thank you very much." She looks at her watch. "I have to go now. See you tomorrow." That evening, Cassie returns to her hotel room and makes a phone call. "It's okay," she says quietly. "The boy is going to do it. Yes, tomorrow afternoon. Bring the money, $2,000. Cassie ends the call. A slow smile appears on her face. "Everything is going to be fine," she says to herself. The next morning, Greg arrives at work early. "I need to be careful," he thinks. He watches the door of room 724. After some time, a cleaner enters the room. A few minutes later, a man comes out. That must be Cassie's stepfather, Greg thinks. When the man leaves and the cleaner goes away, Greg quickly enters the room. "I must be fast," he thinks. He looks around. Under the bed, next to a chair, nothing. Then he sees them by the bed. "The sketchbooks," he whispers. He opens one and looks at the drawings. "Wow," he thinks. "She's very good." Suddenly, he hears a voice. "Hey, what are you doing?" It is the cleaner. Greg runs out of the room and does not stop. That afternoon, Greg leaves work through a side door. "I need to be careful," he thinks. Greg goes to the cafe. Cassie is sitting at the same table. "I have them," Greg says. He puts the sketchbooks on the table. That's wonderful, Cassie says. How can I thank you? We can meet later, Greg says, after I go home and change. I'm sorry, Cassie says. I can't tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, Greg says. Tomorrow evening at 6, Cassie says. Here. Cassie stands up to leave. Don't forget your key, Greg says. Oh, thanks, Cassie says quickly. She takes it and leaves. Greg finishes his coffee. Then he sees his friend Mike, who also works at the hotel. Greg, Mike says seriously, you're in trouble. What's wrong? Greg asks. Jake Russo's sketchbooks are missing, Mike says, and the cameras show you coming out of room 724. Who is Jake Russo? Greg asks. Mike looks at him. He's a famous artist. His drawings are worth thousands of dollars. Greg feels sick. A girl has the sketchbooks, Greg says. He tells Mike everything about Cassie. When Greg finishes, Mike shakes his head. That's not true, Mike says. Jake Russo doesn't have a wife or a stepdaughter. Greg feels cold. He understands now. He was deceived. You must find that girl, Mike says. And you must do it before the police find you. I was stupid, he says quietly. I trusted her. Greg walks toward his small apartment. When he sees a police car near the street, he stops. They are looking for me, he thinks. That night, Greg sleeps on a train in the subway. The night is long and cold. Greg does not sleep well. He keeps thinking about Cassie and the green eyes that fooled him. Early the next morning, a cleaner wakes him. You can't sleep here, the man says. As Greg stands up, a man nearby looks at his newspaper, then at Greg. It's him, the man thinks. The hotel porter. Greg sees his own picture on the front page. Oh no, he thinks. I have to get out of here. Greg runs and goes to Mike's apartment. I need different clothes, Greg says. I can't go home. I know, Mike says. Come in. Do you know where the girl is? Mike asks. No, Greg says. Then he stops. Wait, her key. It's a key to the Dolphin Hotel. That's near 42nd Street, Mike says. I have to stop her, he says, and runs out of the apartment. 20 minutes later, Greg is near the Dolphin Hotel. Then he sees Cassie come out. Cassie, he calls. She looks at him but does not stop. She gets into a car. An old man nearby speaks. Pier 83, he says. Circle Line boat. Greg smiles. Thank you. He runs as fast as he can. At the pier, people are getting on the boat. Greg gets a ticket and looks around. Suddenly, a woman looks at him and whispers to her friend. That's him. They call the police. Greg sees Cassie talking to a man. Then 2 policemen arrive. Where are Jake Russo's sketchbooks? One policeman asks Greg. I don't have them, Greg says. She does. The policemen turn to Cassie. You're coming with us, one of them says. I don't understand, Cassie says. You will, the policeman answers. Later, Greg returns the sketchbooks to Jake Russo at the hotel. I'm very sorry, Greg says, and tells him everything. Jake Russo smiles. It's okay, he says, but stay away from girls with beautiful green eyes.
Let's learn a word, deceived. Deceived means someone makes you believe something that is not true. In the story, Cassie deceived Greg with a false story. Have you ever been deceived by someone you trusted? Tell me in the comments.